is 18 days away, and the reason I know this, and the reason we're doing this, is because I actually got to see the Smackdown show last night, and it was really, it was just awesome. I mean, it was great because you know, that way you can get Smackdown out of the way. You don't have to watch it on Thursday for the people that were at the show, and you guys see the main event. You were basically on your little network thing as well. You were a crowd for their network, pretty much, which was a great thing, and a lot of great things. I'll say before we go over this card. I just want to go over them real quickly. First of all, I think I have in my notes here that I actually had to write notes because I have to remember, because it was a great show. I mean, everything was going everywhere. With Smackdown, though, you don't really have commercial breaks, much like you do with Raw for their network. I mean, I bet they have them on their network or on their app or whatever, but for SmackDown, you just have match after match after match after segment after match after segment after. I mean, we've even got a few dark matches out of it too. I mean, the first one, I believe, I don't even know. I think there's 2 jobbers against the Los Matadores. That was the first match that was going on. But it was great to see JBL, Jerry Lawler, all those guys on commentary, because you know, you can't hear it when you're there, but it's probably a good reason to have the network and to have SmackDown, that we can have that sort of opinion as well. But I mean, we even saw Finn Balor, and there's been rumors of him going to the main roster soon, much like Neville has as of late, and hopefully we're going to talk about him on this pay-per-view as the weeks go by. But Finn Balor is probably, if you have not seen this man live, you need to see this man fucking live. Holy shit, was he amazing. And I think he stomped one of the New Day people, but I won't really spoil anything for SmackDown, even though it's already, there weren't any new matches, except for a potential Miz-Mizdow match they're going for, but everyone knows that's going to happen. We saw it on Raw anyway, so it doesn't really make it any special anymore to buy a pay-per-view for, but overall, the SmackDown show was great. You'll see it on tomorrow night on Sci-Fi, and if you were there, you don't have to actually watch the show, but one thing about SmackDown I will say before I move on is that SmackDown is moving to the the USA Network in 2016. So it will no longer be on Sci-Fi. I'm guessing maybe at the start of the new year. I don't know yet. They have not really said a lot on this, but that's what they're going for, so I'll just go with that. But we have a lot of rematches in this card so far. In fact, all of them are rematches, if technically if you count the Orton one, because Orton never got his rematch for that, which we'll get to a little later. First off, the Intercontinental title will be on the line as Daniel Bryan defends his newly won championship against Brad Barrett. And I just want to say about WrestleMania, you opened the show with the ladder match, and that was great. But you're not counting the pre-show Battle Royal and the tag team titles, which were great as well. But you're starting the main card as the Intercontinental Championship is on the line on a ladder match, and the spots were fucking amazing. Ambrose going through powerbomb through a ladder. Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler having a fucking headbutt war, which was amazing, but was kind of concerning with his with what's happened to his neck recently with the past year. And by the way, if my throat is a little sounds a little fucked up, though, at the show, so that's why. And it was, you're in that atmosphere and you don't care if you lose your voice. It was great. But let's see here. Like I was saying, Daniel Bryan and Brad Barrett, the Intercontinental title is probably getting slowly but surely back to Providence. What I mean by that is, back in the day, the Intercontinental Championship actually meant something. It still does, but not as much as it used to, because basically, back in the day, there were 3 main titles: the tag titles, the Intercontinental belt, U.S. belt, maybe. I think Bobo Brazil had it for a while back then, and of course the World Championship. The Intercontinental title was a stepping stone for most wrestlers to become the World Heavyweight Champion. And Daniel Bryan could be using this as that stepping stone, much like the United States title was for when it was on Smackdown, and they had 2 world titles, and now it's 1 world title. But the premise is still there, especially with the Intercontinental Championship being as prestigious as it is. But he will be defending against the former champion, who technically never lost. Even though he lost the match, technically he was not the last one on the ladder. He was not eliminated last. I don't even know where he was in that match, honestly. He was probably taken out by someone, I don't remember. But Bad News Barrett returns to have his match, his return match, his rematch as contractually obligated against Daniel Bryan. This would be a great clash of styles. I believe, if you think about it, it's the battle of two former NXT rookies. Back when NXT was a show about with NXT rookies, with people in the indies like Daniel Bryan and Wade Barrett, and then people from developmental like Heath Slater, David Otunga, Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, and several others that made it through the 5 or so seasons before NXT became a actual developmental thing and the greatness it is today. But which again, Finn Balor is a perfect example of that. He was on the dark match on SmackDown in between main event and SmackDown, and he just destroyed Xavier Woods, and it was fucking amazing. The New Day sucks chants though were fucking huge, and that was probably the biggest ones, besides the Cena ones, and Cena wasn't there, so they died quickly. Anyway, I digress. With this match, it does not have a stipulation, but at Extreme Rules there are no disqualifications, no countouts, anything goes. Extreme Rules, as pardon the pun, but that's the actual stipulations in the matches. Unless that is just not the gimmick, and they'll have a normal match somehow, but that'll be stupid. But this is one time a year where WWE goes extreme, so expect the latter to go and play in here. I don't know in what capacity, but it will happen. I can say that much. But who will win this match? I mean, Daniel Bryan just won the title, so it would make sense for Daniel Bryan to keep his title. But Bad News Barrett has won the title before off of upsets. I think the last time it happened was at one of the WrestleManias, one of the Raws at the WrestleManias rather, when Bad News Barrett defeated The Miz to gain his title back within 24 hours. And then he had the injury, and then, yeah, that happened. And then now, here we are now. But Wade Barrett is a great talent, and if he does not win this match, expect him to be one of the ones that challenges John Cena every week for the United States Open Challenge, which leads us into the match that John Cena will have against Rusev. The rematch contractually obligated again for Rusev. Keep that in mind for the next one. But Rusev, it was incredible. The match with him and Cena was probably better than anyone expected. We saw like a fucking springboard stunner, which was very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before, and that was very interesting to see that happen. Not once, but a couple times on Raw recently, with against Stardust, which was a great title match as well. But John Cena is making the United States title back to where it should be. Back in the NWA and WCW, the United States title was like the Intercontinental title. You won that title, you went on to the world title. Goldberg is a perfect example of that. But then again, Goldberg was just being Goldberg at the time. But multiple champions, DDP, among others, were great United States champions that moved on to be the WCW champion, which was then known as the World Heavyweight Championship, and then they got unified in the Undisputed title, which we have now. But I hate saying this, but Cena wins, lol. I mean, come on. I hate doing that to Rusev, but in a way, there are two ways you can go this way. Either Cena wins lol and he continues making the title actually relevant by defending it every week, or you give the win back to Rusev and they keep flipping the belt back and forth. I don't know what you do with this now. I mean, it throws off. And I would say, I mean, Rusev's only been pinned once in his career, so the odds are Rusev will win the title. But he's facing John Cena, and like it or not, John Cena will win. As much as I don't like it, it's going to happen. He has a new shirt. He has a new shirt, for fuck's sake. If he has a new shirt, he's going to hold the belt for a while. It's pretty simple. He did this with the Undisputed title as well. So if he has a new shirt, until those are no longer money-wise selling good for the fans at all, he'll have this title for a long time. And I would honestly want him to have this title for a long time, because that way he keeps him out of the world title. Because right here we have the Undisputed Championship, the new champion, Seth Rollins, a man who is the definitive way of Ring of Honor. When what I mean by that is Ring of Honor has brought us many WWE World Heavyweight Champions. Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, and eventually Cesaro, if that does happen. Eventually, who else was in Ring of Honor? Sami Zayn, but to be fair to those Ring of Honor fans, yes, El Generico is still with those orphans in Mexico, so got you there. But Sami Zayn, yes. Kevin Owens, the former Kevin Steen, once he gets called up, would be a great world champion. Ring of Honor has been the developmental for WWE developmental, which is very weird to say that. But nonetheless, Seth Rollins, he came in, and for the first time in history, a Money in the Bank match was cashed in on at the main event of WrestleMania, and for the first time ever, on top of that, we had a triple threat match, a triple threat cash-in for the first time ever, and for the first time ever on top of that, Seth Rollins won the first ever Money in the Bank cash-in triple threat match and became the World Heavyweight Champion. I don't have to set up even more, but it goes back to last year's WrestleMania, because Randy Orton never got his rematch. Never did. And for months I have been waiting to see when he would, and now we have it, as Randy Orton, a year later. I didn't know rematch clauses could go that long, honestly. But with the Evolution thing at SummerSlam, it made sense, and then Battleground and whatever, and then he got destroyed by the Authority, and yeah. Basically, if you have a rematch clause, you can use it whenever you want. It doesn't matter if it doesn't even matter if you're gone from the company. Actually, you can take that back, it might. But nonetheless, if you have a rematch clause, you can do it any way you want. And what the best way to do that is at Extreme Rules. Now, Randy Orton did win a triple threat match, ironically, against Ryberg and the what was he? Oh yeah, the man that lost at WrestleMania, Roman Reigns, which was a great moment nonetheless. But what we have here is, it's weird, because just like all the other champions so far, Seth just won the belt. And eventually, Brock Lesnar in a year's time will get his rematch, just like Orton did, so, or sooner, I don't know. It's Brock Lesnar, so it might be at SummerSlam. But, with Orton, I mean, this has been a year-long build for him. I hate having Seth as a transitional champion. And although the Authority will interfere in this match, it writes itself. Randy Orton has had this build, this rematch in his back pocket for a year. And anything goes in this match. As far as I know, because it's Extreme Rules. The event is named Extreme Rules, so some shit will go down. And Randy Orton will win the title. That's just a gut feeling, that's just an instinct. And if anything, before we go here, your network, your WWE network, is free for this month. All of April, it's absolutely free. No $9.99 shilling at all. But it's free. So you get it, and you get the pay-per-view for free. And that, honestly, you're getting a hell of a deal so far. But let's see what happens and see if I have a change of opinion about that.